I am knowing and trusting God is omnipresent, omnipotent, and omniscient. God is everywhere and in everything, and I am so grateful for these truths. I am knowing and trusting that each and every person here is open to receive today's message. For God is omnipresent. God is in, through, as each and every one of these people, online, in person, and anybody who watches on YouTube. They're all open to hear this message today. I am knowing and trusting that each and every one of these peoples will take this light, this message out into the world, and will spread this message of love, peace, joy, absolute balance, harmony, the harmony that is heaven, bringing the world ever more into that perfect harmony, making the world a better place for each and every person. I am knowing and trusting that these truths will spread throughout the world and will spread this light amongst all the peoples of the world. I am so grateful for these truths. I am so grateful for this amazing truth that each and every bit of light is really that one light, that one God that permeates and is and as through each and every point in the universe. That this one moment is an ever expanding expression of that beautiful light, that beautiful, beautiful love, that beautiful joy that is God. I release and anchor these words, and we can all join together by saying together, and so it is.
At Center for Spiritual Living Beaumont, we believe in spiritual living. Above all else, it is a philosophy that teaches us how to think and not what to think. We invite everyone to practice this philosophy by living in principle. We believe that God is all there is, and each person's relationship to God is a personal one. Every person, place, and thing, and all the space in between is not only an expression of God, but God itself. All love, peace, and beauty that is God exists within each person right now. Together we are all connected as one. Our faith allows us to apply this philosophy to our lives in every moment of every day. As we live in love, we see love revealed and flowing through the world around us. We act as citizens of this spiritual community at all times. This is how we think. We believe in God, we believe in ourselves, and we believe in you because we believe in spiritual living. We are the Center for Spiritual Living Beaumont.
So good morning again. So again, I am honored to be here. And again, my name is Sonja Prince. I don't know if I said that at first when I came up. I just assume everybody knows me because I've been here before. But I am so grateful to be here today with you. I am so full from everything that we've seen and heard and all the announcements, and the vitality of this community just really excites me. So today, we have a global theme for 2021 with the Centers for Spiritual Living, and that is timeless wisdom and evolutionary vision. So, but we also have a monthly theme, and that monthly theme is breathe in the view. So it's this idea of the view, and the view from here, right where we are, right where we sit. So in celebration of reaching a summit, we appreciate our view from a higher plane. And in gratitude, we welcome the question, what will our next journey reveal? So we talk about summiting. And now when you hear the word summit, I think of a mountaintop and looking down on a summit. So summiting is the most common term amongst mountaineers, headed for a well-defined prominent high point. Among rock climbers, one often hears this as topping out. So summiting is topping out. So when I look, I had to take this word into myself, and so I said, okay, when I look from the highest summit of my consciousness and from my own imagination, what I see is the beauty of the world and life continuing in all its many forms. I see trees, the trees outside that are supplying us with all this beautiful, rich oxygen. It's supplying the entire world with oxygen. I see the array of the beautiful flowers covering our landscape. I looked out in your garden over here today, and it's just beautiful. So I recognize and see the flowers covering the landscape. I see a world of people and animals just milling around about taking care of each other, like we take care of each other here, and taking care of our own personal businesses. Whatever we have to do, we're just out there doing our things. But over the past 20 months, many of us have faced significant challenges and alterations in our lives. Would you agree? So now I see the world through a different set of lenses, and you may see it through the different set of lenses also. So what I have seen also is scarcity of food, goods, and services. I have witnessed fear of a pandemic, fear of death, fear of the unknown. I have experienced job loss, the isolation of people, anxiety, panic amongst the world's population. I have witnessed closures of businesses, schools, places of worship. We closed down for a little bit. Entertainment venues have closed down. They're beginning to open up now. And we saw the closure of our schools. And we've seen some economic turmoil and division amongst people during this entire 20 months. So just as I have experienced my own challenges and difficulties, I know that some of you may have also faced similar challenges and experiences in your own lives. Would that be accurate? But I have something to tell you. So through my daily practice of going within in meditation, of having my quiet and silent times in the morning when my house is still, when I read my spiritual books and I stay connected to my spiritual community, when I do visioning and affirmative prayer, that's what we do. We do affirmative prayer. Now I'm able to put things into the right perspective when I use my daily spiritual tools and when I go through my daily spiritual practices. In the morning I wake up, I ask, the first question is, what is God's highest idea for me today in whatever it is I need to get done in my life, in my relationships, in my business, in my school? What is God's highest idea for me today? So I know that there is one power and one spirit, that divine energy that radiates energy and light throughout the world. And therefore, I know that we have the ability to overcome the challenges that we have faced. So we can overcome those challenges that we may have been facing. Or sometimes we may still be facing some challenges. But there is good news. We can overcome it. So Eric Butterworth says, the view from the top, or here, is a powerful insight to live by. Always get the view from the top. Before you react in negativity to people, conditions, or things, take a moment to lift up your eyes unto the hills from that high summit. Contemplate all the changes and the challenges, experiences from the highest possible viewpoint. So that's what we're being called to do. We're being called to see things from a higher perspective and a higher viewpoint. So this is the opportunity to reflect on our journey. We need to reflect on the challenges, the triumphs, and our opportunities. What opportunities have you had to change things, to recognize things from a higher perspective? What actions have you taken or going to take? What shifts? These are pivotal moments of growth in our lives. So as we travel on our journey and on our path, we use our spiritual tools. We use and we know and listen and view things from that highest point to move us from the conditions or the effects into our spiritual selves, our spiritual lives, that spiritual viewpoint. So although we may have some outpicturing of some other things, we still get to do the deep work that we have to do. So I recognize that many people don't have a spiritual practice. Maybe they don't have a daily spiritual practice. Or maybe they don't have a deep conviction. Or maybe they don't even know about affirmative prayer. And they may still be facing or experiencing some despair, some fear, some loss, and some isolation. But I know that the Science of Mind principles gives us the tools we need to create different outpicturings in our life. And that's what I've been talking about all the time, different outpicturing. What does Science of Mind teach us? What tools have Science of Mind given us to move ourselves from the conditions or the effects into the reality that God lives and moves and has his being in and through us, and everything that we may face, God is right in the center of that. So moving our perspective to that outpicturing in our life. So it is very important that we establish a daily spiritual practice of affirmative prayer, of meditation, and of visioning. Ask yourself when you wake up in the morning, what is God's highest idea for me to do? Whatever that is. What is God's highest idea for my relationship? What is God's highest idea relationship for my job, my career, my art, whatever it may be? Only you know. But that is the first question that I ask. So I invite you to ask that question also. So what does these practices do for us? They enable us to see through various challenges that we have faced, especially in the last 20 months. And it gives us a different vantage or viewpoint. So what do I know? I know that the ultimate goal of life does not mean that we shall ever arrive at a spiritual destination where everything remains static and inactive. Things are always moving. Things are always changing. Always. And I know and believe in an internal upward spiral of life through the embodiment of the teachings. When we embody it, we can change our lives. So I'd like to share a story about a caterpillar. So we all know what caterpillars are. They crawl around. So anyway, so I had the pleasure of being at a wholeness and wellness center in May of 2020. And all these caterpillars were crawling around. And they were just crawling up the walls. They were everywhere. And so my room was like right here, and the caterpillar was crawling up the wall and crawling right over my head where I would go into my room. So I had a conversation with this caterpillar. Do not fall in my hair, because you are done if you do that. Because I'm not going to try to pick you out and find you. And I'd like to challenge you to try to get out of this. So, but as I was having this conversation with this caterpillar, I stopped. And I began to witness what was actually happening. I took out my phone and I recorded it. So the caterpillar got to a point where he hooked himself in. he hooked himself into the knowing what he was about to do next. And the body started moving and shaking and moving and shaping, moving and shaking. And then the head, and I'm watching this, the head fell off. And I'm like, what a beautiful opportunity to witness. Because as he or she was doing that thing, that God thing in him, he no longer needed the head with all the thoughts and we sometimes get mixed up in our thoughts and our limitations. And, well, he no longer needed that. So he just lopped it off. Because what he was transforming in was something more beautiful, something that he didn't need that part of himself anymore. So the story illustrates how our world has transformed. Our world has also transformed in the past 20 years. Months, not years. Maybe it's transformed in 20 years, but it's really transformed. We've seen a lot in the last 20 months due to a virus that spread around the world. And for example, more people are working from home now. As consequently, large companies are selling their buildings. My son was working at Bank of America, and he just told us this there was 4,000 people at the building in Brea. They've decided to close the building. They've all been working from home for this last 20 months. So many people, many parents are homeschooling now. And we are communicating through live streaming, Zoom, Team. We're going on YouTube to watch our services. So, and we are using our smartphones and our tablets more. We're learning that new technology in order to stay connected and stay in touch. So it's very important that we as a people transform our thoughts and actions in order to continue to live a fulfilled life on this plane of existence. So the caterpillar story also taught me about gratitude and thanksgiving. So I'm grateful and thankful for being alive. I'm grateful and thankful for being able to be at home and not on the front lines, like in my previous job. I am grateful and thankful for the technology that I just talked about that allows CSLs all around the world to continue this wonderful, magnificent work and the service that it provides. I am grateful and thankful for all of you who showed up today, who showed up on the live stream on Zoom. And I'm grateful and thankful for my family. So, what is our task? Our task in any situation is to look beyond appearances and seek the spiritual truth of what is before us. And as we contemplate all the things that we are grateful and thankful for, what can we do what can you do? What can I do if you have been experiencing these feelings of fear, anxiety, and uncertainty? So here's some science of mind tools and principles. You can establish a daily spiritual practice. I talked about affirmative prayer. What is affirmative prayer? It is the contemplation of the facts of life from the highest point of view. We should incorporate visioning. So visioning is a creative process that allows you to open your consciousness up to what is God's highest idea of itself in your life. So visioning consciously opens us up to be receptive to the impression of spirit on ourselves. And visioning is a practice of cultivating the field of consciousness and illuminating what wants to emerge into form without preconceived notions, ideas, or limitations. And also, it is very important to use meditation. So meditation allows us to sit in your sacred heart space and connect with your divine source for a greater awareness and enlightenment. So as we continue our journey, I invite you to reflect on how the past months have impacted and changed your life. Has your perspective and awareness shifted as a result of this journey? Has it renewed your truth? Has it increased your awareness and changed your outlook? Knowing that the presence and power of God is in all things. Think about that. So if we can just get the perspective of the presence that God is not someone to pray to, but a depth of awareness and energy to pray from. And that was a quote by Eric Butterworth. That's what we need to get. So we can move ourselves from these appearances to the highest point of view, God's point of view, living in and through us. And so it is. Thank you so much. So I invite you to join me in consciousness and in prayer. And knowing that there is one power and one presence. You can choose to call it God, the universe, spirit, but there is only one. And that power and that presence lives, moves, and has its being in and through me. That power and the presence is the presence of love, of peace, of joy. It is omnipresent, omnipotent, and omniscient, knows all, sees all. It is the power back of everything. And it lives in me. And it lives in you. It is your operating system. It is closer to you than even the breath. It has always been there and it will forever be there. So as we recognize it more and more, as we live our life from that place of the highest peak, the highest point, our vision begins to change. We begin to move into that flow of infinite possibilities, that flow where everything is like that river that she sang about. When the water rolls over the rocks and we get smooth. That is our highest point. When we practice gratitude and thanksgiving, like the videos. I am so grateful and thankful for my life, my breath, this day, this community. the beauty that I am, the beauty that you are, how I show up in this world. When I embody that vision of God and live from that space, I am free. So I know, and I invite you to live from that space of freedom, of knowing, of embodiment, of embracing the love of spirit, the love of truth, the love of God that lives, moves, and has its being in and through you. Ernest Holmes says there's a power in the universe, and we can use it. We can use it because it's a part of us. So I give great thanks for this community and all its people. I give great thanks for everything, the unfoldment of life as it continues here. And I bless this center and all of you. And so it is. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you for joining us for our Sunday service. Please remember to like, comment, and share this video on Facebook, YouTube, and any other social media you are a member of. To donate to CSL Beaumont, you can text GIVE to 951-420-6909, or you can visit our website at cslbeaumont.org and click the donate button at the top or bottom of the page. You can also mail your donation to CSL Beaumont, 802 Maple Avenue, Beaumont, California, 92223. Have a blessed day, and namaste.